for 200 plus years, and we get to be alive at a time to see it fall. I believe in the power of one person working as a team with other Christian patriots can have massive impact in reversing this ungodly culture. I believe that we have an omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent God that has put his hand on this moment in time to deny the timeline of the enemy and is about to heal our land. This is Rick, your host, and I believe that God has called me to empower Christian patriots with truth. Join us now for the Blessed to Teach show, and let's see what God is doing today. Welcome, it's Rick B2T here. We are going to empower Christian patriot truth the next few hours, actually. First hour on this channel, second hour on the Word and Worship channel, where we'll be talking about the Trinity and getting into the second person of the Trinity of Jesus and why he is God. He accepted worship. He forgave sins. He actually said, before Abraham, I am. We'll begin into the details of why you can believe that he is the second person of the Trinity and God himself, right? As in the one God has only existed. We already went through one God. We went through God the Father, and now we're going to go through Jesus. And then Sunday, we'll dig into the Holy Spirit, and how the Holy Spirit is God. He gets grieved. He's a person, actually. We'll be digging into that. But right now, Erika fights back. Whoa! She is putting Candace Owens in her place. Candace has gotten very wealthy, and I believe has the spirit of Amalek and Haman on her. We've talked about that. We're going to dig into that a little bit more. We're going to talk about how Erika really came out fighting now. And then Byrne Bombshells. Wow. He went on Alex Jones. I do not trust Alex Jones. You know, he was in the Q drops talked about he was a Mossad agent, basically, that his organization was funded through the cabal and part of the Mockingbird media and what you call controlled opposition. It's like Vladimir Lenin used to say that the best way to control the opposition is to lead it ourselves. That's pretty crazy when you think about it, but that's what these sophisticated organizations do. So you basically have oppositions, but you're paying them off, and 95% of what they say is absolutely true, and that 5% they lie to you, and then when the switch is pulled, boom, they flip on you, and that's controlled opposition. Now, has Alex Jones been straightened out by now? I don't know, but that's where General Flynn and Emerald Robinson and Patrick Byrne are going on, unfortunately, to give their news. But they're bombshell accusations with massive facts and whistleblowers, and two from the Venezuelan government themselves, right? That have generals that have flipped. So this is historic, and it all has to do with the 2020 election. Has to do with not only elections of our country, but in 72 countries as a whole, 71 plus the United States. So it is amazing what we're doing what we're going through right now is the declass that's happening everywhere in different ways, right? This is coming from what some people call the Flint Network. And I know some people that I used to have on the show, Shady Groove and in the Matrix, and other people, Scott Bennett, I think is the guy's name, are trying to show Flynn and Patrick Byrne and Joel Altman and Mike Lindell as basically traitors. And I totally disagree with that, and I'm going to be talking about that a little bit. They have some good points about how they may have hurt Trump and what I believe are just silly decisions and silly logic, but I don't think they're purposely trying to sink Trump. Now, Flynn could have been playing both sides, right? We'll be talking about that a little bit as well, but we're going to get into all that in the next hour and dig into tons of other news. And then again, the second hour will be on the Word and Worship channel on Faith and Freedom TV, as well as on Rumble. Again, so we're live right now on X and Rumble and Facebook, but the main channel where you can chat with me is on Rumble as well as YouTube. You can chat with me there, and Backstage you can chat on the Zoom there. So that's where we're going live in a lot of places back again now that we've got the new technologies figured out. All right, here we go. Let's dig into some of these breaking news. But I did want to start with some Christmas shopping ideas. This is unique. If you want to really, this is a more expensive one. But instead of having a $7,000 or $8,000 red light, one of those big panels, right? You can have a flexible red light bed. I don't know if you can see that picture very well there, but this is and what we've done is add our quantum technology that for pain especially. And so if you're dealing with any pain and you've had a hard time with it, using red light, the infrared technology, as well as the quantum energy, and we get that prayer guide in there, right? All that type of stuff. And so instead of being $7,000 or $8,000, this is $697. Again, you get the physical part, the mat, you get the card, which is that pain card that comes with it. And then you also have the spiritual part of this, which is the guide. You'll see a picture of those right here. So again, this is if you have somebody you love or you want to really tackle this in a different way, this is way better than the panel, a $7,000 plus panel. $697, and guys, if you use the B2T code, you get 15% off of that. So this is a great deal. Get you under $600, under $600 for a incredibly high quality mat, red light therapy mat, the quantum energy relief card, as well as the Bible reading guide. Go to blessedteach.com/Matt, M-A-T, only one T. blessedteach.com, that's blessed with the number 2, teach.com/Matt. All right, we're going to get into all this news now. Let's tackle this. This is exciting times. You've got, but boy, the enemy is fighting back. Their goal, obviously, is to take out Pete Hegseth, take out RFK Jr., and take out Trump, right? That's and so they're going to do everything they can to try to accomplish that. And this is a fun one where Pete Hegseth actually said, "Hey, I can fire who I want. This activist judges overruled. Trump judges green light. Has this ban on military dudes in dresses." So they're mad because they tried to destroy the military in a variety of ways, vaccine everybody, making it all transgender, etc. But this is the interesting part: is you got the Democrats already putting an impeachment for both Hegseth and RFK Jr., right? So you'll see right here, House Democrats move to impeach RFK Jr. and Hegseth. And again, this is this Democrat from Michigan and this Thader and Stevens, and they want them gone, right? And so RFK Jr. has turned his back on science, they say. And so all the science that's real science versus the fraudulent funded big pharma science shows what's really happening here, right? And so RFK Jr. is basically showing that the H1B vaccine that came off the FDA list. So if you actually give HB1 to a brand new 0-day born baby, which they did for years, you're no longer covered by the vaccine schedule, right? So that's got vaccine industry pissed off. You got the Pediatric Association actually saying from Maryland and New Jersey, basically saying, no, you need to follow the pediatrics guidelines, not the FDA. So if they do that, they're no longer protected by this stupid immunity law that we have, where you basically poison our children and not be held accountable. But so the enemy is mad at this. The whole big pharma complex is being tackled, with the H1B being taken off the childhood recommendation schedule, and RFK doing what we wanted him to do. He's taking steps toward. He started with food to kind of get his settled, seeing where his enemies were. He's surrounded by all kinds of enemies, right? He's in a viper's nest is what he's in, and so him actually taking steps to actually take just one vaccine out of this huge schedule of 97 shots or something like that in the first 5 years, right? And they're freaking out over that. That is pretty crazy when you think that. Oh my goodness. So that is wild stuff. So let's continue to dig into this now. Let's see here. So somebody's talking about trying to pull something on why I haven't been on for 5 years and saying something I'm deceived or something like that. It's like, dudes, I was telling the truth. That's why YouTube take me off. That's the first sign of somebody telling the truth, is they get taken out on YouTube. They gave us all our channels back, but it's completely shadow banned now. We have 102,000 subscribers on YouTube. Obviously, a lot of those are old accounts from 5 years ago, but it probably shows up on 30 people's feed, because we got 19 people watch on YouTube. On Rumble, what do we have? We're at 62, and obviously we're on other channels as well. But that's what happens. We got trolls coming back on, which is a good sign. We got trolls coming on. Here we go. Let's continue on to this. Here's Erika fighting back. Candace Owens has basically been blaming everybody but the left. That's what this demon of Amalek, and this is what Amanda Grace has talked about for weeks now, is that she sees the spirit of Amalek all over Candace Owens. It's a spiritual thing. She gets so angry, she's so frustrated, and she can't think about anything but Charlie. She's got Charlie derangement syndrome, right? Or maybe it's TPUSA derangement syndrome. But here's Erika finally addressing this. And this is a 5-minute clip. I can't play all this, but here, let me just play part of it. I think you will enjoy hearing her fight back here.
What are they taking from you right now? Nothing. But I will tell you what they are doing. It reminds me so much of chapter 6 in the book of Nehemiah. He is building a wall, and the townspeople are at the base of that hill saying, Nehemiah, calling him all these names, saying all these things, come on down. Every single time he had the same message 4 times in a row. I cannot come down. I am busy building. That is how I feel. I do not have time to address the noise. My silence does not mean that I am complacent. My silence does not mean that somehow Turning Point USA and all of the hand-picked staff that loved my husband and my husband loved them is somehow in on it. We are busy building. And you know what I thought? I thought these people are human. We are all grieving in our own way. And they are trying to find the answer to something that happened that was so evil. They are trying so hard. And I get that. We're doing the same. Anytime we hear a lead or anytime we I want justice for my husband, for myself, for my family, more than anyone else out there. So for me, you want to keep telling me to come down while we're building? I don't have time for that. But here's my breaking point on that. Come after me, call me names, I don't care. Call me what you want, go down that rabbit hole, whatever. But when you go after my family, my Turning Point USA family, my Charlie Kirk Show family, when you go after the people that I love, and you're making hundreds and thousands of dollars every single episode.
See, that clearly is talking to Candace. Right? She's the #1 podcast in the world right now by pushing a different theory almost every week. Right? You've got the Egyptian planes. You've got now it's the military. It's the military. The FBI is the problem. Turning Point USA was in on this. It's the Israelis. No, but it's the French. No, she basically has blamed like 30 different entities. If you really look at where she is, I'm just asking questions as she attacks everybody. And again, there is a trial going on, and Erika is going to be talking about that here in a second. But the fact that she's talking about this, she's clearly going back at Candace directly. But there's several others that are really attacking this as well. And I think everybody knows that it's not this lone person probably. Just like the butler, he didn't act alone anyway. And that Tyler Robertson probably didn't act alone, right? And they're turning over all the rocks, trying to figure out what's going on. And is our FBI covering it up now? Now remember, they're not responsible for the investigation as much as it is the Utah prosecutor. But the way Candace is going about this is basically accusing everybody on Charlie's team, everybody close to him. And as Amanda Grace clearly said and showed, that this is really like Simon. And she's talking about this aunt who's putting voodoo curses on people that attack Candace, right? And that's similar to Saul going to the witch of Endor, right? And basically summoning up summoning up a dead person that had already died, the prophet, and actually getting advice from that. And she saw Charlie Kirk dead, the dead Charlie Kirk coming back in a dream, basically saying he was betrayed. So what you have there is a very scary parallel to what Saul did as the king to depart from the Spirit of the Lord completely, right? So Candace and also is criticizing Protestants. He said Charlie's too smart to be a Protestant, which he was. He was clearly a Protestant. He did, and he did do some other just spiritual disciplines such as the Sabbath, which has nothing to do with Catholicism. She claimed he had a rosary now, but guys, the point being that Charlie loved the Lord, and his mission was to share the gospel and help people get out of the mind virus of the progressive left. So not blaming everybody but the left is exactly what Satan would want to do, right? That's why I believe this is a spiritual battle. This doesn't mean that Candace doesn't believe what she's thinking and think that she's doing a good job. That's what the great deceiver does. That is exactly where I think we are. Now we see she was always claiming that it was all the TPUS. It wasn't Erika. So now Erika's coming right at her and telling her, no, what you're doing is inappropriate. There's a difference between asking questions and accusing everybody around you, especially all the people that she loves and trusts.
Going after the people that I love because somehow they're in on this. No.
You know, I have to say it. I've never seen you like this.
No, this is righteous anger because this is not okay. It's not healthy. This is a mind virus.
See how she says it's a mind virus, guys? That's what happens when you are under spiritual influences. So, again, Tucker Carlson, having the demon around him. Talked about that. You've seen him. He's been pro-Qatar, pro-everything, Muslim, and the Israel derangement syndrome is all over these people. Doesn't mean that Israel's perfect. We know Israel's got massive problems in this Mossad. But there's good people fighting that Mossad, fighting the intelligence agencies in all our countries as the white hats versus black hats. And so this is a complex issue. But hope you're starting to see what Amanda, Grace, and I have been talking about. There's a spirit of Haman out there, a spirit of that they want to destroy all Jews. And it's coming into the MAGA movement. It's not about destroying the Jews. It's about all the Jews are all our problems. It's lazy thinking. Charlie called it very, very clearly out that it's a lazy thinking to think that all your problems are the Jewish people.
Yes, I believe in our judicial system. I do. We have a hell of a team working on this. Excuse my French. But this is not okay.
So you want...
So she goes on there, and you guys, I'll have that in the show notes if you guys want to dig into more detail of that. I did want to go, though, to, and this is Benny Johnson explaining that. Erika Kirk goes absolutely scorched earth against evil people monetizing Charlie Kirk's death and attacking her family and families of those close to Charlie and TPUSA. And it's interesting. She says, thank God we are finally here. The demons are screaming. So here's Benny Johnson's also a Christian, talking about this is demonic. This is spiritual oriented. The attack to the MAGA movement. So again, if you're Satan and you do not like what Trump is doing in the MAGA movement, that's actually coming to free us from this global elites of satanic Luciferians, right? What do you want to do? You've got to break up the MAGA movement, and that's what these spirits are doing in different ways, right? You got people attacking Flynn. I believe that's another spiritual attack. You have, and not just Flynn, but Patrick Byrne and everybody that's showing the fraud from Venezuela. And this is an exciting time and good stuff, guys. Good stuff. So I see there's some comments here that are going. I'll just play some of these because I know people will disagree with this. That's fine. Hey, that's why we I'm just giving you my opinion, and it's going to be exciting to see how this all ends up. I wanted to go to here it's another clip from Erika, right? And this she does not mention Candace Owens again, but she's obviously talking about her.
We have a trial coming up. Unfortunately, that trial is in a long time. What I want to be mindful of for people is that this was a murder. This is not something that, what I don't want to have happen is for this to taint the jury pool. I don't. I want my husband, I want justice for my husband more than any other person on the internet. Any other person in this world. That was my husband and the father to my kids. We will make sure, and we have been, turning over every single stone, going down every single lead. So when these people say, oh, they haven't talked about this or done that, how do you know? You're not in those meetings with the attorneys and the prosecutors. You have no idea. And why would we share that information with the internet to what? Then give the defense more stuff that's not true? Like, it's just, you, Erika, at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, the truth is the truth. We have a trial.
Yeah. And so I think that's real key right there, guys, is here's two clips of her clearly calling out Candace and talking about that's not helpful, what she's doing. Right. And so I think this is something that's real important. Here's our MLR on that one is on, I can't remember if that's Rumble, but here she's also saying that Benny Johnson was discipled by Charlie Kirk. Charlie was instrumental in getting many truly saved in walking with the Lord. So that is exactly right. So we are in a battle right now, and I think it's going to be really a big. Now I think that I'm looking at some other comments here, see if anything else that's interesting I like it how the Racing Queen saying, judge not lest you be judged, as people are trying to slam Erika. And it'd be interesting. There's definitely controlled opposition everywhere. So we have to use our discernment. It's healthy to talk and discuss it and show evidence. I did a bunch of analysis last night on the people that are attacking Flynn and what they call the Flynn network versus all the evidence that they found lately with the Venezuelan generals coming out with the details. And it's clear based on, and I'm gonna make sure that you guys understand that what I'm talking about here is my opinion, but it's based on very detailed knowledge of being in 20 Reawaken Tour events, right? Where I got to know personally Clay Clark, as an example. I've interviewed General Flynn and Patrick Byrne both one time, not extensively, but the other people like Mike Lindell 3 or 4 times. You've got, and then Joel Altman, who heard Eric Coomer on the phone call, right, and is being sued. All these people are being sued by Smartmatic and Dominion and Eric Coomer. Usually they have 3 lawsuits on them, right? And so they're trying to break them down. And so to say that all those people are part of the Flynn network, that's what Shady and Matrix are basically trying to say. It's one thing to say Flynn, and Flynn may have been playing both sides of the fence here, maybe preparing for a presidential run because he heard that they were trying to take Trump out. But to say that he doesn't love our country, that Flynn doesn't love our country, is just wrong. I'm saying that he is part of this globalist plan to take them down on January 6th, part of the globalist plan to take them down now, and that they were trying to get him to do the Insurrection Act so that it would be a civil war. They were trying to lead us into civil war, and saying that it's not machine fraud, it's not the problem, that's just the voter rolls. That's absolutely false. But that's what these Flynn network people are saying. These machines are compromised, and now we have massive evidence and whistleblowers to back it up. So again, this is something I believe that we can look into in more detail, and it'll be exciting. At the bottom of the hour, I have Kirk Elliott coming on, so we'll switch into talking about the economy and silver on the run. There's a silver train going on right now. It's exciting. But here is Patrick Byrne on one of the many things he just unloaded. There's like 5 major things he unloaded on Alex Jones' show. We'll talk about a couple of them.
The Bidens were offering to take a bribe in return for letting Iran have their money back and another bribe to let them keep more news. And you'll see that this it's the mention. So normally, so as a tier 1 intelligence asset, I'm years beyond needing to work. Like I come back, I report on conversations, my word's gold. They don't need to polygraph me or anything anymore. But you've gone through all that for years before they accept you at the levels I was. Obviously, I'm out all of that now.
So he's out of that now. So, but again, and he wrote his whole book, Danger Close, and the movie that's out there that Flynn produced is all about the details of how they recognized how evil Obama was and how they were doing a coup, despite the Trump being elected in 2016, and he was involved in all that early on, right? And so now the Flynn Network people are basically saying, see, he was a CIA asset, and once the CIA, always the CIA. Now, he was an asset. That is a lot different than being in the CIA, right? And being a paid CIA person. He was a tier 1 asset. That's one thing to note. But I've watched a lot of Patrick Byrne's interviews, and I believe he's telling the truth, and the generals backed it up with evidence now, right? But this is talking about Biden and the administration actually taking bribes from Iran.
But this is one of those rare occasions where I not only had the report, I actually have corroborative material, 3 voicemails. I've given you one of the voicemails that you'll see mentions of South Korea, Pakistan, and there's even a mention of an opaque reference to something about the other discussions. It's a reference to the nuclear discussions, but it's done very opaquely. So the Bidens were offering to take a bribe in return for letting Iran have their money back and another bribe to let them keep more nukes.
They wanted more nukes, and they wanted the money, all that money, and they got them both, right? They got pallets of cash from Obama earlier, and this allowed him to take some of the sanctions off and actually help them keep their nuclear program. So bribes that he has 3 voicemails on. So he's bringing receipts. That's one thing that is completely different here. So that is some like who's this FDP007. Saying that he's bringing the receipts, right? Patrick is sharing some major information. Let me put that up on there. Yep. So Patrick is sharing some major information. So this is some people feel this way. Patrick was working to help save our country in our world from the communists. I totally agree with that. I totally agree with this major information being shared. And so this is pretty wild. Here's RMS, and I'm so glad she's calling out Candace from the earlier the earlier topic. But again, this is pretty crazy here. Oh, okay, I see Kirk on, so I want to flip over to that because we have limited time with Kirk, and man, we haven't had him on for a while. And Silver's been going crazy since we talked last. So let's talk a little bit about the economy and what it means. Kirk, I just can't wait until this Babylonian system crashes and we have no Federal Reserve anymore. What do you think about that?
I mean, Rick, it's on its way. I mean, literally, I think it's not been horribly long since we've done a show, maybe 3 weeks, a month ago, something like that. But since then, I don't know. I think silver's gone from 52 to 62. I mean, literally, it's almost at 62 today.
It's pretty crazy. I mean, it's still going up. It's wild. 61.81 right now, right? So, geez.
I mean, obviously at an all-time high. So on Thanksgiving, this is kind of weird story. So on Thanksgiving, you know, I'm just doing my thing, eating turkey, taking a nap, watching football, right? Had no idea what was going on in the world that day. Friday morning, I get up and I'm looking, it's like, what? Silver went from 54 to 58 when the markets weren't even open.
That's that right there. Boom. It's like,
yeah. So I'm looking, it's like, what happened? So evidently CME, which is COMEX, the major exchange in North America, they halted trading. They halted trading on silver and copper. And it's like, what in the world? How could they halt trading on a day that the markets aren't even open?
Yeah,
right?
No kidding.
I mean, banks weren't open. It wasn't like it was a hot overbought market day, but it was international trading, right? So they said, yeah, we had to halt trading because the cooling towers broke. It's like, what? Cooling towers. So I'm a business guy. You're a business guy, right? So So on an exchange as large as COMEX, guaranteed, they have a redundant cooling system, guaranteed, right? So if one breaks down, boom, couple minutes, they got the new one running because they got to keep the servers up so they don't overheat.
Right.
Well, so the whole story that they shut it down because it was down for 10 hours. They halted trading for 10 hours. This caused some forced selling of contracts during this time, right? But so while this was happening, they blame it on something. They blame it on the cooling towers. I don't buy it for a second, not for a second, Rick, because there was a mysterious order that was placed for 400 million ounces of physical delivered silver by the end of December. So you can look at some of the reports. It's to an AP, which is an associated person, not named, but to put this into perspective, 400 million ounces is the global mining production of all the mines globally all year long is 850 million ounces. So literally it's like half of the world's silver supply coming out of the mines in one trade. Okay, that's big.
Yeah.
Right? So that's enough to default the banks. So rather than banks defaulting on positions, especially when they're short and they've got this need, then the prices were going to go up. They just shut it down. It's like, okay, it's easier to shut it down than to actually face default. So then, the next day comes Friday, it's like 58 something. And then everyone says, oh, they're going to fix this thing. It's going to come crashing down to $40. And it's like, okay, people don't know what they're talking about. When there's no supply and there's that much request for physicals and they've got all these outstanding short contracts and they so much so that they had to shut down trading for a day, there's no way it's going down. So, but it did come down to like 57 and then it jumped back up to 58 on Monday, went up to like 60. Now we're at 62. Right? It's like, this is absolutely incredible.
Mm-hmm.
So, but to me, that's kind of the new kind of just technical news, talking about supply and demand. There's something bigger that happened on Friday, the day after Thanksgiving to me. And that is when you look at silver compared to like the broad-based stock market index, like the SPX, the S&P 500, it blew past it. So on a chart, it's comparing the two, silver past it. Okay, why is this a big deal? The last time this happened was in 2001.
Whoa.
So I got into the industry in 2002, just a few months after that.
Right.
Well, silver in 2001 was $4.58 an ounce. By 2011, when this signal happened and silver blew through the S&P 500, it created a 10-year bull market in silver. So by 2011, silver was $48 an ounce. Okay,
Almost
so
over 10x, right?
over 10x. So we go from 450 to 48 in 10 years. That's 10x. Okay, so now the signal happened again on Friday. It wasn't 3.5 years ago when you and I kind of started doing shows and silver was like $18 an ounce. Yeah, that was the beginning of the bull market. But the signal happened on Friday. The price of silver on Friday was 58, right? So that's the new beginning point. The last time it marked the beginning of a 10-year bull market, a 10x bull market. This one's starting at 58. Where does that put it? It's like, oh my word, this could have silver in the multiple hundreds, right? And so we're starting to see this move. And for the last 6 months, I've been saying, because of supply and demand, there is no supply. Manufacturers still need silver. Just because there's no supply doesn't mean that they have to stop making TVs, right? It's like Sony is going to actually start offering any price possible for silver, even though London has run out. Doesn't matter, right? They're going to say, if we don't have silver, we don't have a final product that we can sell, right? So they start offering and bidding up the price. I think this is what's starting to happen, Rick. Because now with it being at 62, and I've been saying, I think it's going to hit 67 to 75 by the end of the year. And let's see, 2 months ago.
I remember that. I remember that video. You talking about that too.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah. So
and
2
I
months
thought, wow,
ago,
that's pretty aggressive. And now it doesn't look so aggressive.
you're not the only one that thought, oh, that's aggressive. You know, people call me, basically, this is my interpretation. Kirk, are you smoking crack? This is wild. This is an insane projection. It's like, no, I'm not. It's fundamentally sound when silver runs out and demand is sky high and needed for everything. It's just what happens. It's not like a financial metal like gold that you don't really need. It's a metal that you need for manufacturing. So this is where the prices could go astronomical. So it's like, okay, now we're getting to 3 weeks before the end of the year. Silver's at 62. Like, yeah, I think it could hit 67 to 75 this year. And then next quarter, by the end of the spring, early summer, we're probably at 120 to 140. Well, that puts us right in line with what happened the last time silver blew through the S&P 500, created a 10-year bull market that went 10x.
Right.
This 120, put this into perspective, is only 2 times, not 10, from where it is today. Right? So I'm expecting some really tremendous things moving forward for all of you out, blessed to teach audience out there who have purchased metals from us in the past. You know what? Everybody, this isn't just a trade that's like, yeah, I did pretty good. No, this is life-changing, legacy-building types of trades where when you are in the right place at the right time, taking advantage of these massive mega trends, it's an incredible thing that you just participate in, right? We've done the homework. You and I have done the homework over the years, and prophets are talking about this rise in gold and silver. And we've got technicals that are confirming the price rise in gold and silver. You've got fundamental reasons why it's going up. When you've got all 3 of those puzzle pieces, basically technical patterns, fundamental analysis, God speaking through prophets, you've got spiritual and economic and political, all working in the same kind of sphere with each other. This is exciting. I mean, this is exciting to me to just think about and consider the life-changing nature that this is going to have on people's lives, right? And it's something as silly as silver. Yeah, it's going to change people's lives. I mean, this is just incredible, and I'm honored to serve. And if you all have any questions, just reach out to our office anytime. That's why we're here.
Yeah. And again, you can get a hold of Kurt at 720-605-3900. His team will give you a free financial consultation. Guys, just consider this no matter what your positions are on making sure you're diversified in this. It's not too late, just like we were talking about, because everything you just talked about, Kurt, nothing that had nothing to do even with where I believe that is the big explosion is when Trump gets rid of the Fed and goes to the gold standard. Right? Is that not just, wouldn't that even blow away the analysis you just did?
Oh my word, it would make my analysis look like kindergarten.
That's right.
I mean, it would. And what you're talking about, Trump has said numerous times in various ways, saying things that delegitimize the Fed, right? Whether he's speaking against Jerome Powell, whether he's talking about even things that are kind of related but kind of not, abolishing the IRS. See, both the IRS and the Federal Reserve came around in the same year, 1913. That was a bad year, right? That was not
after they drowned everybody in the Titanic. That was against it.
I mean, seriously, it was so not good year. However, these things are changing. This is why Trump has so much headwinds politically, economically, globally against him, because he is upsetting the apple cart. He's upsetting the globalist banking cartel that's been around since 1913. And you know what? It's an evil empire that somebody like Trump, who doesn't really care about what people think about him, is just going to do things the right way. I mean, I love it. I love what's happening. It's a paradigm shifting moment for the world, though, and we get to participate in it.
Yeah, exactly. And I just want to show you guys. We were talking about, hey, it's never gonna get over this. These times. I'm looking at 20-year chart now. If you go back 30 years, there's a bump here, there's a bump here, there's a bump here, right? But people said it would never get it to its all-time high of over $40. And wow, look at this. It's just crazy. And if I look at the 10-year chart, for example, you can just see that this is the beginning of something pretty amazing. They've printed so much money, guys. This should be much higher. The ratio between gold and silver, this should be much higher. And so those are some of the fundamentals we're talking about. And that does not include the fact that he's probably going to go to the gold standard in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
don't be a day late, because once it hits, you may be not being able to participate at all, right?
I mean, that's so true. So true.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kurt. We really appreciate you coming. God bless you. And you have a
God
great
bless.
Christmas if I don't talk to you beforehand.
All right. Sounds good. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. All right, guys. That is exciting stuff that we just went over there. Again, if I just look at this chart real quick, this is a 10-year chart, right here. And we started talking about this when it was 18, 20, 20. You know, I got most of my stuff around here when it was 25, 26. And it dropped for a while, right? But you just hold on to some of this stuff long term and watch what happened. It going up all the way. When I switch it, doesn't totally update. It goes all the way to 61. That's only shown to 50 right there, right? It's just absolutely crazy at 61.82. But again, compared to what it should be, compared to the ratio between gold and silver, compared to what's going to happen when they go to the gold standard, that's why Kurt's been pretty much right on before talking about, an asset that is real when the economy goes into hyperinflation, that protects you from that, and it's liquid, so you can actually sell this at any time, unlike real estate or something like that. So make sure you give him a call. Again, it's just at 720-605-3900, 720-605-3900. Let them know Rick B2T sent you. All right, guys, we're going to continue to dig into some of this other stuff real quick. This is interesting. I was really disappointed in a couple things that I wanted to dig into, but I wanted to first let you know that Emerald Rogers is right here. Emerald Robinson right here. I was really disappointed in her today. So I just found out that she has Israeli derangement syndrome. It's like, oh no, are you kidding me? So, but she's doing a great job talking on the Venezuelan issue. And she's got a lot of sources talking about Rick Grinnell, and that he went to Venezuela, and Rick Grinnell denied that right now, saying wrong. But what was interesting is there's a lot of interesting stuff coming out on him and what they found out from all these different factions. And here's Patrick Byrne talking about it.
But Rick Grinnell, I'm told from two independent sources, shagged a 14, 15-year-old boy, and the Russians have the videos. So he's owned.
So that is pretty scary. But having sex with an underage boy, getting that on film, and then he's owned, right? And then he's also talking a lot about that others are compromised, including our head of our CIA.
John Ratcliffe, I'm also told, on good authority, very good authority within the intelligence community, John Ratcliffe, who I've met twice and seemed like a nice enough man. I don't hate the guy, but he's got a similar problem. And it's not underage, it's not a boy, but on two occasions he was drawn into hotel rooms with young women, and it's on video. He's owned. John Ratcliffe's not really running the CIA. John Brennan is. The top.
That's pretty scary that the Democratic Muslim who basically tried to overthrow Trump and is bringing Muslim Brotherhood in right and left and hates this country is still running our CIA. I really believe that is a true statement. You can kind of see it by the way everything is going on. And so this is a battle, a very big spiritual battle that we are all fighting here. Here's just a reminder. This is on December 9th here, where Rubio is talking about Venezuela.
Not only do we not recognize him, 50-something countries around the world do not recognize Nicolas Maduro as the rightful president. He's not the president of Venezuela. That's a title he's given himself. And that's not just us saying it. That was, by the way, that was the policy of the Biden administration, and that was the policy of the first Trump administration, and that's the policy of 50-something countries, including multiple countries in the region. Do not recognize him as the president of that country. What he is someone who's empowered himself of some of the instruments of government and are using that to operate a drug cartel from Venezuelan territory. Much of that drugs aimed at reaching the United States. So we're not going to have a cartel operating or masquerading as a government operating in our own hemisphere. He's indicted. He's a fugitive of American justice. There's a reward out for his capture. And by the way, related to that, the President of the United States made clear that he's not going to allow cartels, that cartel or any other cartel, to operate with impunity in our hemisphere and send drugs towards the United States. And he's going to use the U.S. military and all the elements of American power to target cartels who are targeting America.
Wow. So that is John. I mean, that is our Secretary of State, obviously, and really digging into Secretary Rubio on Venezuela. So, guys, to actually say that all those generals and everything that's going on is part of the Flynn network versus truth is a big overstatement. Here's Ghost Ezra, I think, putting it this way. He says, even if a fraction of what Patrick Byrne is claiming is accurate, then the American people deserve answers. Allegations like those that don't come from nowhere. Something pushed him to finally put this on record. You don't get someone tied to intelligence operations speaking this openly unless they've hit their breaking point. And that's what's happened to Patrick Byrne, I believe. He's going, I cannot believe the evil I'm seeing. I am coming out with everything. The idea that the government agencies may have played a role in shaping political narratives is serious, and it can't be just dismissed. At this point, all I want is full transparency, no matter who it exposes. The truth shouldn't depend on which side it benefits. And that is exactly right. I think I agree with that. And again, that would go against all these people in the Flynn network are basically discarding this completely and saying that Flynn and everybody that I know and love from the Reawaken Tour are all part of this, the part of the deep state in controlled opposition. That is just not possible, guys. I've had too many people, and I've seen their heart. I've seen Clay Clark's heart. I've seen Amanda Grace, obviously, some of these people, other people that really trust this Flynn and what he's doing, right? So even though Flynn, I do see some things that are him show him probably playing both sides, like the Flynn bus going all the way around, and him talking bad about Trump a lot. And lots of people think they're smarter than Trump, and they're not. They're not. They're just not. But and so including Emerald Robertson, she says the whole problem is Trump, right? And here's my problem with Emerald. I'm going to put both sides of this. I love Emerald's reporting on Venezuela, but here she says something that's just absolutely incorrect. She says real Christians do not celebrate Jewish holidays. Okay, first of all, they're biblical holidays, right? And God says to that we should be doing them forever. And even in Revelation says we will be doing the Feast of Trumpets in the future, right? So how can you say that? That's just a completely incorrect statement. Why? Because the Jews reject Jesus as the Messiah. The difference is fundamental. The small number of Messianic Jews who believe in Jews are rejected by other Jews. What's that have to do with the biblical truth and the fact that we are going to be doing the Feast of Trumpets in the future, right? We're going to be doing the Feast of Tabernacles. The Feast of Tabernacles. All nations are going to be doing the Feast of Tabernacles according to Revelation in the future, right? Probably in the 1,000 years of Christ. So to say that is absolutely incorrect. So I'm just really disappointed that she took her popularity with her platform based upon this new information and starts doing Israel derangement syndrome stuff. This just shows you it's everywhere. This whole spirit Haman and Amalek is everywhere, right? And she even went here to basically say, so Charlie Kirk spent the days saying Shabbat Shalom when he came home on Fridays. And so he would celebrate, and he's found it transformative to actually do 1 day off a week, which the Bible talks about, right? And so then she moves into accusation of Israel derangement syndrome again. She says, in between the Zoom calls with rabbis in Jerusalem for talking points before debates, and being in between the meetings in the Hamptons and the Jewish donors. So here she is basically accusing Charlie Kirk of being sold out to Israel. Just sickening that she would take her platform and start doing this, right? It's like, wow, you're going on the side of Candace Owens and Tucker Carlson now with that same spirit. So pretty scary that that's happening here. Even though Emerald's doing a great job reporting on Venezuela and the fraud and the 2020 debate, she's completely off when it comes to people like that people like me who again, who's the Passover lamb? It's Jesus, and we're supposed to not celebrate Passover. Give me a break. We're not. It's like it's really interesting how judgmental some of these Christians are. And then Charlie Kirk is all sold out because he basically recognized the Sabbath, and that was his rest day. We're supposed to rest one day a week. You know that, right? So interesting stuff. Here go. Amanda Grace talking about Britain. This is scary stuff. Did you see that Australia, they outlawed, with hardly any support from the public, they outlawed anybody under 16 years old can't have social media. 16 or under. So you have to be 17 years old to even have a social media account. And why are they doing that? Because it's a bunch of cabal people wanting to control you. They are doing it because all the adults have to register and say who they are. So if you create a social media account, you have to prove you're not under 16. So it's really just social identifying. It's making sure that they can keep you from saying what you want to say. It's pretty wild. And that's why that's Australia. Here's Britain. Basically, Killjoy announces bans Christmas door wreaths and threatens to fine those who leave them up. This is it's like Britain is on the brink of one of the largest shaking in its history, says Amanda Grace. It's like, I'd say so. When you start going that anti-Christian, watch out, right? New York Post, Ilhan Omar blasted over resurfaced comments on Somali influence in the U.S. as Elon Musk suggests she committed treason. She's basically saying, I'm representing you, Somalis. As long as you vote me, I will make sure that the U.S. influence will always protect Somalia, right? So it's just we got enemies in our camp, and it is amazing. Here's breaking. Elon Musk just reposted a video of Ilhan Omar saying it sounds like treason, and this is it right here. And I'm not sure if it's too treasonous. It's more like saying that I'm going to protect you, I'm going to protect our country, but I'm going to be used in the U.S. to do that. That's just inappropriate. I don't know if it's actually treason, because he's not talking about overthrowing U.S. She's basically saying I'm going to use my influence to make sure Somalia is always protected, which is not the right reason for people to get in there, but especially when most of those are illegals that are voting and shouldn't be voting. That's the bigger issue, right? Federal judge unseals final grand jury records in the Epstein case. And again, this is going to be a nothing burger, guys, because what the judge is saying, hey, almost all the evidence that they collected was based on Epstein and Ghislaine. And they decided to ignore all the other clients because it was difficult to prove, and they really wanted to nail Ghislaine, right? And so when they release all this, it's not going to give people what they want. And so but they put this protection of the people who were actually sleeping with all these young girls or boys, if that will, and doing the evil stuff in Epstein Island. They protected it under layer after layer after layer. So this did destroy one layer, which is beautiful, right? So the law that Trump did 5D chess on them and got them to unanimously approve, right? Besides one person, was this 5D chess move, getting everybody screaming, Epstein files, release them. And it got through one of the layers that said, hey, this law overrides the seal that this was on. So that's the good news. And so we're one step closer to getting truth, but there's more unraveling we have to do to get to the actual client list, if you will. That'll be coming out sometime, I believe, but not anytime real soon. Not on this December 19th date or whatever they have here. Here, exclusive Trump Energy Department to finance up to 10 nuclear reactors in bid to kickstart nuclear energy renaissance. This is in where I was born in Idaho. That's about an hour from where I was born in Idaho. But that's what it's talking about here, where they're basically talking about to AI, and there's going to be a huge demand for energy. All right, Bitcoin and those technologies that are really blockchain technologies require proof of work, which takes massive energy. So in order to create a Bitcoin, to create a blockchain item, you need to actually go through that proof of work, which creates massive energy. So that's why AI takes so much energy. The whole blockchain and AI infrastructure takes massive computing power, right? So what you're seeing here is a race for energy is going to be vitally important. Otherwise, China will just take us over with AI and we'll be destroyed, right? So we have to fight this. This is all technology can be used for good or bad. And this is one that eventually will probably be the beast system. I understand that. But I think everybody should get smart on AI and understand how to use it in a correct way. And for instance, I use Grok a lot, but I force it to say, as a Christian patriot, and then I ask it questions. And I correct it, and it actually corrects for me. So when I am actually doing things, I can actually, as a Christian patriot, or as an expert in this area, and you can tone it down. And the amount of stuff and information you can get in much shorter time is amazing. So don't be afraid of these technologies. Get smarter on them so we can outuse them and use it for the kingdom versus what the enemy's trying to use them for. That's my opinion on that. Democrats end a 30-year losing streak in Miami as Trump-backed candidate falls short. So Higgins rides a affordability push to Miami mayor's office backed by the National Democratic Machine. So this is bad news, So here we are in Miami, and you have for the first time in 30 years, a Democrat mayor. This just shows you that. Now, was this part of the machines? Who knows? But what we have is this country being completely divided again, and this great deceiver coming in and trying to make all MAGA people look bad. And so this is why Trump is going to have to be doing massive campaigning during this next year before the November elections. It's going to be very, very important for him to do so. And that's what we reported on yesterday with Susie Wiles saying he's going to be doing just that. Here's some Trump truths. I love this section just to kind of see, hey, what's Trump tweeting about nowadays? And I always like to refresh this to see if there's anything new. He's got this gold card coming out. I'm going to refresh this real quick, so just in case something here, it looks like this is the last thing he posted 4 hours ago. But this is the gold card. And guys, this is crazy. You have to spend $15,000 just to apply. And then you have to, if you get it, you have to pay $1 million for just the gold card. If you want the platinum card, it is going to be coming soon, where you have to pay $5 million plus that $15,000 fee. And that gives you 270 days without having to pay taxes. So basically, this is Trump saying, hey, I'm going to, instead of having all these people coming into our country that come here for free, and we pay them massive money and subsidies and Social Security and housing and Medicaid, Medicare, all this and all this free stuff that we end up giving them, right? He's basically saying you pay $5 million, $1 million or $5 million in here, and nobody would do that unless they have a good business case. So they're going to be doing business-oriented type things. Brilliant move, brings money in, brings highly talented people in, versus the opposite way. And so this is legal integration, bringing in people that want to be here and love our country and want to help it versus hurt it, right? Now here's Trump basically, because now you got the New York Times just lying about him, about how his health is he's slowing down, all this type of stuff. So he just lambasts them. Says, there's never been a president that's worked as hard as me. My hours are the longest and my results are among the best. I've stopped 8 wars, saved many millions of lives in the process, created a great economy in the history of the country, brought businesses back in the United States at levels never seen before, rebuilt our military, created the largest tax cuts and regulation cuts ever, closed our open and very dangerous southern border when previous administrations weren't able to do so, and created an aura around the United States of America that has led to every country in the world to respect us more than ever. In addition to all that, I go out of my way to do long, thorough, and very boring medical examinations at the great Walter Reed National Military Center, and seen and supervised by top doctors, all of whom have given me perfect marks. Some have even said that they have never seen such strong results. I do these tests because I owe it to our country. In addition to the medical, I've done something that no other president's done. on 3 separate occasions, the last one being recently, by taking what is known as the cognitive examination, something which very few would be able to do well, including those working at the New York Times. This is all response to the New York Times saying that he slowed down. And I aced all 3 of them in front of large numbers of doctors and experts, mostly who I did not know. I have been told that few people have been able to ace this examination, and in fact, most do very poorly, which is why many other presidential and decided have not taken it at all. All these presidents say, I'm not taking that, right? Despite all this, the time and work involved, the New York Times, this is the headline here, and some others like to pretend that I'm slowing up, right? That is just not happening. It may be not as sharp as I once was, or I'm in poor physical health, knowing that it's not true, and knowing that I worked very hard, probably harder than I've ever worked before, I will know when I am slowing up. But it's not now. After all of the work I've done with medical examinations, cognitive exams, and everything else, I actually believe it's seditious, perhaps even treasonous, for the New York Times and others to constantly do fake reports in order to libel and demean the President of the United States. Do you hear that, guys? This is what it's setting up. Sedition and treason. Q talked about that a lot. This is enemy of the people. They are true enemies of the people, and we should do something about it. They have inaccurately reported on all my election results, and in fact, were forced to apologize on much of what they wrote. The best thing that could happen in this country would be that if the New York Times would seize publications because they are horrible, biased, and untruthful source of information. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Bottom line, guys, is that the CIA controls the New York Times and the Washington Post. It's fraudulent information, enemy of the people, right? Here's Trump basically saying, man, Mexico better clean up their stuff.
As Mexico continues to send millions of gallons of raw, untreated sewage water into the Tijuana River. The often massive releases are linked to operational issues at Tijuana's primary wastewater treatment facility. It's created a health hazard for communities like Imperial Beach and Coronado.
Yeah, so that's another thing that he tweeted out. He's also tweeted this thing about Charlie Kirk's new book that he wrote before he passed away, obviously. It says, "Stop in the name of God. Why honoring the Sabbath will transform your life." And so, again, this is a spiritual discipline, guys. I'm not saying that you should be doing this, but he found it transformational. I think it should be transformational if you would take that day off and do different things in what your work do, right? And focus on your family, focus on other things. And it's sad that people like, that's Emerald Robinson, who's becoming pretty famous now because of the Venezuelan fraud, links back to the Smartmatic and our 2020 election stolen, is now criticizing Charlie Kirk for something that was transformational in his life. Pretty sad. Trump put this whole thing about all these people talking good about him coming back on the campaign trail and being in Pennsylvania, and people just praising him and praising him and praising him. He put all that on his Truth Social with tons of information. The crowd is chanting 4 more years. And his POTUS responds, well, we have 3 years and 2 months to go. And you know what it is in Trump time? That's called eternity. We have a lot of time. So that 3 years and 2 months that he has. But again, people are saying, hey, this is a transformational president. Once we find out that he got stolen and was thralled till his first 4 years, I think there's a good chance that once the country comes together, Epstein files are released, all the Venezuelan fraud is shown, all the people are rooted out, that they'll give Trump another 4 years. We'll see. I don't know if he's going to want to do that though. Right? We talked about silver being way up, guys. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to go to word and worship, which is one of my favorite things to do, is teaching in little segments in between beautiful music. So again, if you go to Rumble and just type in word and worship, word with the N, letter N. I always do that. I use the N as in Nancy for getting a URL that I can get. So you guys will find that. Let me show you here real quick. Again, this is where we're going to be going to worship with some music as well. And that's right on YouTube, as well as you'll find it on Faith and Freedom TV, faithandfreedom.tv. That's right down below here, and you can see it right there in the middle of the screen, below, or faithandfreedom.tv. That is where we are going live now, and we have 25 beautiful people coming on. I know Amanda Grace, we got great Dr. Artist has some of the documentaries on there. The Aegis Doctors. You have Dr. Tenpenny. You've got Donna Clement Petruska. Some of the best people. The Resistance Chicks, all coming to this platform. They're all on there now. It's live with 3 channels, including the Biohackingville channel, a Red Pill channel I call it, which is the Faith and Freedom TV, as well as a Growing Your Faith channel. So check it out. You can have it on your TV as well as your phone. And but you can go to faithandfreedom.tv right on the web app. Is awesome. So there's 7 apps. No matter where you're watching it, whether it's your phone, your on your URL on your laptop or your iPad, or go into the TV apps like Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Android TV. You guys are going to love that. It's going to be fun. But we're moving over to that right now. We're going to be doing Word and Worship, and I'm going to be talking about the Trinity and why Jesus did claim to be God, and it's very clear that he claimed to be God, and how that works, and how the Trinity is not anything confusing. It's something that just the Bible clearly teaches with Scripture. That's the important point about this, right? Just like celebrating the holidays in the Bible from the past, like the Passover and the Feast of Weeks and Feast of Tabernacles, or Feast of Booths they call it, that we're going to be celebrating in the future in Revelation. There's no reason for us not to teach on those and understand how it applies to how Jesus fulfilled them all. He was the Passover lamb, right? But now let's get into why he's God. Let's move over to that channel right now. God bless you guys, and we'll talk to you soon. Test the spirits and learn to hear my voice.
Elitist media deceives, but Faith and Freedom TV amplifies truth. Our world-leading platform delivers news, teachings, worship, movies, and music rooted in biblical values and constitutional patriotism, inspiring faith and liberty. We inspire, equip, and amplify Christian patriots to share powerful stories of faith, family, and freedom. With live events, thousands of on-demand videos, and access on Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Android, and iOS, we're transforming culture globally for God and country. New content is coming to ignite faith. Join our mission to counter deception. Visit faithandfreedom.tv and download the Faith and Freedom TV app today.